Hey, what's up gang? Actually, before the video gets started at all, I just want to give a huge shout out to Chase Bridges, who I'm kind of pretty much copying the format of this video off of his videos. So if you haven't seen his, go watch that now. I am a huge fan of Scooby-Doo, but there's one show that always slipped past me, and that was Mystery Incorporated. And Mystery Incorporated actually has like a series-long mystery, and it is the Curse of Crystal Cove, or at least that's what I think it is. I think that's the mystery, because that's kind of what the first episode is about. So yeah, if it's not, it's because I don't actually know what the mystery is. But I'm pretty sure it's the mystery of Crystal Cove. So I've already seen the first episode. You should if you want, you can watch along. I'll tell you what episodes I'm on. I'm probably going to do them in increments of 5, except for this first episode. So let's get into kind of what we learn about the mystery of the Crystal Curse in this episode, and lock in, I guess, our guess for what we think the big overlapping mystery is, even though it's not going to be right. But I'll lock something in anyways. Okay, so the episode begins with Velma kind of giving us the spiel about the Curse of Crystal Cove. Every few years, a bunch of people will just go missing at Crystal Cove. And it's weird. It stopped happening for a while, and then it kept, I think it started with Spanish conquistadors. And Velma works at the local museum that her parents run, and she's giving this tour, and she's going over and she's kind of showing some classic Scooby-Doo monsters, and it's just explaining how all of them were actually fake. None of the monsters are actually real, and I think that's going to be pretty important. We're then introduced to the rest of the gang, and the one I want to focus on the most is Fred. So Fred has his dad, Fred Sr., and he is the mayor of Crystal Cove, which automatically puts him on my suspect list. You can't be the mayor of a small town and your son's one of the main characters and you don't have something to do with it. The overlapping mystery, I mean. Sorry, another thing I just remembered that happened when Velma was giving the museum tour is that she mentioned very specifically that the last time the Crystal Cove curse happened was to the Darryl family. And then after the Darryl family disappeared, all of these fake monsters just started showing up. So I think that's a little suspicious. I do want to learn more about the Darryl family. So another interesting thing is that Daphne's parents, or her mom, I think it was just her mom, said that she's in a mystery phase. That she's in a phase of trying to solve mysteries, and she should be focusing on other parts of her life. Kind of everyone, not everyone's parents, but Fred and Daphne's parents are really trying to push them away from solving mysteries. So maybe I should have put Daphne's parents up here too. I think they're suspicious. We'll see. So I'm not going to explain the whole mystery of the first episode because I don't think it's going to be that important. But during it, they find this kind of key looking, they call it a locklet. But when I first saw it, I thought it was a key. So I don't know, I think it's a key, but they call it a locklet. I don't know, but they find this locklet, and what's really important is that at the end of the episode, Fred Jones Sr. sees the locket and he makes like a little face. He like raises his eyebrows when he sees it. And also in this scene, is the sheriff's been showing up a few times. I just haven't mentioned him. But again, you can't be the sheriff of a small town and be very involved with the main characters and not have something to do with it. Whatever the mystery is. I don't really know what the mystery is, but he's got something to do with it. So I guess a more important things is that there's a very heavy emphasis in the episode that the Crystal Cove caves are connected to the sewers. So I think that that connection is important in some way, that the caves are connected to the sewers. I think that's going to have something that's going to be pretty important later on, I think. But the last thing that happens in the episode is that the gang's all together. They're at this, I think she's this like radio DJ person, I think is what she is. And they get a phone call from this guy called Mr. E. And he basically like says like, hey, you should not have like touched and removed this locklet. You're going to bring on or unleash the Crystal Cove curse. So that's pretty interesting too. So I guess my first kind of guess, I'm not gonna be locking anyone in. Actually, I am gonna lock someone in. Someone for definitely being involved in some way to whatever the overlapping mystery is. But kind of my main, where I think the series may be going, is Mr. E knows the truth about the Crystal Cove curse. I think real monsters are involved because there's a very heavy emphasis on the fact that the monsters are not real. That's gotta have something to do with it. I think moving the locklet is going to unleash these monsters, and they probably live in the caves. So I guess I got two kind of mysteries going on. Is what is Crystal Cove? What is the Crystal Cove curse? Like, what is the truth behind it? I think. Also, who is Mr. E? I don't know if he's. Wait, but it would have to be someone who knew that they got the locklet. And the only two people who knew that they have the locklet is Fred Jones Sr., the sheriff, and then there was the guy who owns an ice cream parlor. I don't think it's him. And there was a teacher who's like the main monster in the episode. I don't think it's him either. I think my guess right now is Fred Jones Sr. either is Mr. E, knows who Mr. E is, or has something to do with the Crystal Cove curse. That's what I'm locking in right now. I'm not too confident because obviously I don't really know much. But yeah, I'm gonna go watch episodes 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and I will check back in.
Scooby-Doo Mystery Incorporated, a new series starting Monday, July 12th at 7 on Cartoon Network.
I just finished episode 6, and there is a lot to talk about. So first off, I'm really enjoying the show. It is really good. If you're not watching it along or you haven't seen it, I would start doing that. It's really good. There's a lot of it's basically just like Scooby-Doo Riverdale before Riverdale was a thing and before Riverdale got like really bad, like kind of first season. There's a lot of like teen drama stuff going on. It's fun. So we'll start off with probably the most important new development, probably not the most important, but one of the most important, and that is Mr. E has been sending them messages, kind of trying to lead them towards mysteries or solutions to mysteries. And the first one that we see is that he sends them to, what was it, Gatorburg, which is like this poor town. And we learn a lot about the town. So I think it might be important later. Not really. I don't think it's going to be that important, but I'm just going to mention it now. So in these kind of early episodes, we learn a lot that's, I think, going to be pretty important about Mr. E. The one I clocked in like episode 2, and that is that he either had to be physically around or have someone hired to be there, because like he fixes their engine, and it's kind of like, how would he do that if he wasn't there or had someone there working for him? And I clocked that. We learned in episode 6 that yes, he has people working for him. And also, I'm pretty sure that Mr. E is like testing them, because he like already knows like the solutions. Like he knows what everyone's plans are. Like the monster of the episode, he knows that. He knows who it is. So I think that he's testing them to see if they're like smart enough to then like look into the Crystal Cove curse. So we get a big spotlight on this. I mentioned her earlier as like the radio DJ. Her name's Angel, and we get a lot of her. She appears a lot, and mainly where she appears is so Mr. E sends the gang this like poster, and it shows that there was like 4 kids that went missing, but you can see there's like a big rip out there. That's probably going to be, or at least is what I thought pretty early on, is that this is probably going to, whoever's pictures here is probably Mr. E. Probably. But in this, I was about to say the same episode. I don't remember the exact same. But Daphne put together that there's like a picture in the locklet. I guess I didn't show or mention that, but yeah, there's a picture in the locklet of this guy and this girl, who very obviously kind of looks like Fred and Daphne, kind of like an older version of them. But Daphne points out that the people in the picture are these two, like this girl on the left and this guy on the right, and that guy looks like Shaggy. That's kind of like a Scooby-Doo looking guy. So there's something going on there. But when Daphne points that out, Angel does like the eyebrow raising like thing that Fred Jones Sr. did. And talking about Fred Jones Sr., whenever like a new monster shows up, he starts calling them tourist attractions, and he doesn't want the gang taking them down. So maybe he has something to do with why all of them are showing up. Maybe I just thought of this on the fly. So the last people to disappear was the Darryl family. So maybe the Darryl family was bringing a lot of money in. But then with the Darryl family gone, because when the Darryl family disappeared, that's when all the monsters started showing up. So maybe it was like a plan to keep the economy in Crystal Cove going. Because in Gatorsburg, all the gators, like, they ran out. And so that's why the town went to shit. So maybe the Darryl family was like keeping the town afloat. Then they had to make this new plan of making all these monsters. Something's going on there, I think. But I do think we kind of have our first big red herring. And that's going to be Skipper Shelton. He has a big focus in the one episode as a red herring for one of the monsters of the week. But the thing is that they give him a lot of motivation, like against the city. And then they say that he's not the monster. So I think that's going to come up later, is like his animosity towards the city. But I think in the end it's going to be a big red herring for something. And for all who don't know, a red herring is a storytelling device where they set one person up to like be the bad guy, and then he's not. I don't explain it as well as Chase, but you know what a red herring is anyways. But we get some huge developments in episode 6. So one, Daphne is looking into kind of these missing kids and finds out that someone's very obviously trying to cover it up. Maybe the sheriff? Maybe the mayor? Who knows? You see this missing kids poster? Well, boom. We get the full... Oh yeah, I think she finds it in the library. Okay, whatever. But, oh wait, no. Wait. I think what happened... No, sorry. I remember what happened. So this is a bad part of the video. I'm very sorry. But so, there's like this whole... The monster of the week is this girl named Alice May. And she accidentally leaves her bag behind. And in the bag is an old yearbook where this picture, they find it in the yearbook. Then we find out that Alice May was actually working for Mr. E. So Mr. E wanted them to get that full picture, even though he gave them the cut up one to begin with. Maybe it's so they would look into it and find out someone's covering it up. I'm not too sure. But anyways, we now know who's in the middle, and I said earlier that might be who Mr. E is. I think Angel is Mr. E. And now there's only one character that we've met in this show who, I'll just say, is a person of color and a woman person of color. And that's Angel. I'm sorry. I had to say it for the sake of the mystery. But she's also a DJ, because when we hear recordings of Mr. E's voice, and it's very obviously not a woman's voice, it's a man's. But she's a DJ. She can change that, I think. I'm locking in that Angel is Mr. E. That's not a Mr. at all. I still don't really know anything about the Crystal Cove Curse. Definitely has something to do with the caves. Definitely has something to do with the old Mystery Incorporated gang. Definitely has something to do with Angel. Definitely has something to do with the mayor, Fred Jones Sr. But yeah, that is it for episodes 2 through 6. I'll go watch the next 5 and check back in. Scooby-Doo! Okay, I just watched episodes 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11, and I'll just say it admittedly, this was definitely some more teen drama heavy episodes. Not much going on for the overall mystery, but that's okay. We still learned some things. So the first thing that kind of stood out to me in these episodes, the sheriff is really dumb. Like really dumb. Like surprisingly, excessively dumb. And I think that is something that's gonna come to play. Because I have a feeling that someone wants this really dumb sheriff to be the sheriff. Because if you have a really dumb sheriff, then like you can get away with more crimes if the sheriff is too stupid. So another early thing, or another thing that happened in an earlier episode, is that Fred gets called on his phone by Mr. E. So I think it has to be someone Mr. E has to either be someone that the gang is close with, or have someone working for him or her. And so that does kind of add to my Angel theory, or Angel could be working for Mr. E, because I'm still pretty sure that that's Angel. I'm pretty sure. That's just my theory for now. But I don't remember exactly how they got this message, but Mr. E gives them the says this has all happened before. And then there's this picture of the old Mystery Incorporated, but the bird is circled. So I think the bird is Mr. E. And this does kind of get backed up in a later episode, which I'll get to. But I think the bird might be Mr. E, but we'll get to that. We'll get to that. But first, I just want to kind of discuss my thoughts about the line, "This has all happened before." And I kind of want to go back to the first episode and re-listen to Velma's explanation of the Crystal Cove curse, because they said that the last time it happened was the Darryl family. We actually don't know how long ago that was, I don't think. And before that, it was Spanish conquistadors, and I don't even remember what the second. It was only happened 3 times, where people just disappeared at Crystal Cove. But these guys definitely got something happened with the Crystal Cove with them. As we found out, someone's trying to cover it up. So I'm thinking that this has all happened before. I don't think that this is the first group of Mystery Incorporated. This has all happened before. I think he's trying to get them to look into what happened here. I think he wants them to try to find his friends, except for Angel, who is working with him. But I think he's saying this hasn't happened before, because I think that they were looking into what happened to previous groups of Mystery Incorporated, and they disappeared. Now that they're looking into it, they're gonna disappear, or be at risk of disappearing too. I think that's what the line "this has happened before" means. That's my theory right now for that. So another interesting thing that happens is that in an episode, the sheriff says to Fred that if he wasn't, I'm just gonna say this now, it was in kind of a jokey way, but I still want to bring it up. He says to Fred, because Fred tricks him into doing something. He was like, "If you were my boss's son, I would make you disappear forever." Which is a weird thing to say. It's a weird thing to say, because I think the episode before that is when we got the "this has all happened before" line. It's a weird thing to say. See, he could have just said, "I would lock you up," or something like that, but make you disappear? There's a choice in words there. He didn't have to say that. He could have said, "I would lock you up." So I think that there's something there. But so, in an episode, Scooby gets locked up in an animal insane asylum, which I do think is going to be important, especially because of the "this has all happened before" line. I think the previous Mystery Incorporated, all of them had an animal pet, and they all get locked up in the animal insane asylum. Because we meet Professor Persiles. I think it's Persiles. We meet Professor Persiles, who I think we get told is that bird. I mean, I'm pretty sure we got told that, but I mean, you didn't really have to say anything. I think we could have put the dots together. But the important thing is that they say that he has like the smartest mind in the world or something. So this bird is Mr. E. I'm very, very confident that this bird is Mr. E. But because they meet the bird at the insane asylum, and when he's leaving, he says like something like, "Don't trust the people closest to you." Cliche, whatever. But then he like says like, "Especially you, Fred." So one, he knows Fred's name. So, you know, that's a little sus. And he knows something about someone close to Fred. I've already had my suspicions about this man. I'm still confident in he is making these monsters or egging people along to become monsters to keep the economy afloat. I'm still very, very set in that. There's nothing pointing me away from that right now. But, and it's gonna be a little hard with the pictures. I think that he might be the old Fred. I think there's a chance that he is the old Fred. And that's why he's saying, don't trust this guy. He's the reason we disappeared. He had something to do with the curse. Or he knows about the curse. Something like that. And a big thing that I didn't really realize until right now is that in an episode, he was going to set up a trap for, or he is not setting up the trap, but he was getting people to set up a trap. And that's a very Fred thing to do. So I'm thinking that he used to be the trap guy in his own Mystery Incorporated. And a very important thing is that we never see the mayor interact with Angel. We've never seen that interaction happen. They've never been in the same room. But these are also the only two characters to do the eyebrow raising thing to the locket. Which also, I'm very sorry. I realized I was listening back. I was calling this a locklet. It's a locket. My apologies. But then at the end of episode 10, nothing really happened in episode 11, but at the end of episode 10, they're told by Mr. E to follow the parrot. So again, I think it's the parrot. I think it's just the parrot. Or he could be a huge red herring. Or it could be Angel. Angel could have been our red herring for who Mr. E is. Because we see that picture, we go, oh, well, pretty much exactly what I did. So maybe Angel might be our red herring, and it is the bird. But I also feel like they're really trying to push us to think it's the bird. So maybe it's not the bird. So I do gotta remember, this is a show for kids. At the end of the day, even though I would say this is more for like a older preteen, the teen audience, it still is Scooby-Doo. So I think it does have to be solvable for children. So I think that does add to it being the parrot. It's also, he's like the smartest mind ever. They say, or the smartest mind in the world, even though his brain is the size of a pistachio, I think is what they say. So he definitely would have the smarts to be figuring out all the answers that he's kind of trying to help the gang reach. I think that we're on to something. I think Fred Jones Sr. is part of the old Mystery Incorporated, and he is helping make the monsters in some way to boost the economy. Angel also was a part of the old Mystery Incorporated. I don't think that she's Mr. E anymore, but definitely helping Mr. E in some way. They're definitely like something's going on between the two of them. I'm pretty sure. I think that the parrot, Professor Pursley, is Mr. E, and the sheriff has been put in his position to stop crimes from actually like being solved. That's my theory. I'm gonna go watch the next 5 episodes and I'll check back in. Yeah.
For more fun with Scoob and the gang, go to ScoobyDooMysteryInc.com and play the new Crystal Cove online game.
It's the most hauntedest game on the internet.
Ooh.
Okay, I just watched episodes 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16, and although there wasn't too much for the mystery, there was a lot of things in the background that I think are all going to come together. Mainly, we learn a lot about the Darrow family. And again, another mistake I made. I was calling them the Darrow family. It's the Darrow family. But we learn a lot about them. Mainly is that there is a university named after them, the Darrow University, which is insane. So I'm pretty sure that my Darrow brought all the wealth to the town theory, so true. So very, very true. In that same episode, we learn about the Darrow family archives. And we find out that, it's like on a news report that they got stolen. And we find out that Mr. E was the one who stole them, and he gave them to the gang. So what this brings me to believe is that the Darrow family, the Crystal Cove curse, the old mystery gang are all connected. And I'm pretty sure that there's more than one old Mystery Incorporated, because the line, this has happened before. We also learn about the Darrow Mining Company, so that also just kind of adds to my whole theory about the Darrow family having all the wealth, and Fred Jones Sr. is like, now that they're gone, we need to make tourist attractions. Yeah. But a lot goes on in episode 17. Sorry, not 17, 16. Professor Pericles is back, and there is a little bit of a wrench in my theory. We'll get to that. Actually, the first one will be right now, sorry. So, in the episode, Pericles has to help Scooby kind of save the gang and the town. During that, though, we see an interaction between Pericles and Angel. And Angel knows who the bird is, but the bird kind of acts like he doesn't know who Angel is. He's like, oh, it's good to meet you, or something like that. I think that that's like super BS. They definitely know who each other are. I'm so confident that that is Angel, and we know that that's Pericles. We know that. But the kind of big thing that puts a wrench in my theory is that apparently Pericles and Mr. E have beef. And I do have kind of a wild theory that could explain it, and I'll get into that later, but... So we find out that the conquistadors, the first victims of the Crystal Cove curse, had a treasure buried somewhere. And Pericles is close to finding it. And if he does find it, it will be the end of Crystal Cove. Bum bum bum. But I there's something I'm not buying. So I would like to introduce the two-bird theory. So the two-bird theory goes, I was thinking about it, right? At the end of the day, this is a Scooby-Doo mystery. They've got to, at the end of it, pull the mask off of someone. Now, they could be pulling the mask off of Mr. E, but what if they're pulling the mask off of the bird? Sorry, I got pulled away from something for a second. Where were we? So they pull the mask off the bird, and we see under the bird is a robot. And the real Professor Perkles, like the one that's in this picture, is Mr. E, and that's why they have this beef. Because Mr. E made a robot clone of himself that became evil. This is probably the stupidest theory I've had this entire fucking time. But imagine if it's real, and maybe we find out that the person operating someone operating the bird is an AI. Oh, it's a lot to think about there, eh? Yeah, I'm not too confident on that theory. I want to learn more about this locket, though, and how it's like unleash the curse. We haven't really heard anything about that. In like episode 12, they got the Darrow family archives, but like they haven't touched them since. And like we're up to they went 4 episodes, without even bringing them up. So I don't know what's up with that. Yeah, that's all I have for now. I'm gonna go watch 17, 18, 19, 20, and 21, and then I'll be back. Yes.
There's the cell phone phantom.
Oh, is that annoying? Fine. Oh, you're right. This is better.
Mystery solved.
Quiet down, you meddling kids!
Scooby-Doo Mystery Incorporated. All new episodes Tuesdays at 7:30, 6:30 Central.
Sometimes I can be really dumb, it seems. So we got the big reveal of who Mystery is, and I'll get to it. But the thing that annoys me is that I didn't know we were gonna get the reveal, and I figured out who it was before the reveal. But it was at the start of the episode. I was like, oh, it's this person then. Has to be. And I did think that it would get revealed at the end. I was gonna wait till the end of the episode. But then they just revealed it. We'll get to that though. So something really interesting in, I believe it was episode 17, is that it opens up with the Darrow family finding this kind of pizza slice shaped object, and they're all fighting over it. And then it causes the Darrow mansion to sink into the ground. And we find out later in the episode too that apparently the Darrow University was built over the Darrow mansion that was sunk into the ground. So, the gang ends up going down. I don't remember why they went, but they went down. Oh, I remember why. Is they got, I think it was her old diary. I think they gave her a name. It was like Jude or something. It was like Jude's old diary, and the last entry was them going to the sunken Darrow family mansion. So yeah, they get the diary. It's like, oh, the last place that they went was the Darrow family museum. So they go there, or not museum, sorry, the mansion. So they go there, and in the basement, not the basement, it's just the sunken house. Oh my god. But in the house, they find like a goblinified Danny Darrow, I think his name was. I think it was Danny Darrow. But we also find out in the mansion that the old gang actually escaped from the mansion. They didn't get trapped in there, which is what I think we were led to believe from the diary, I think. So after we find out that little piece of information, that the gang did not disappear in the mansion is that this like pizza slice looking thing, I believe they say, is a puzzle piece to find like the conquistador's treasure that we brought up earlier if you didn't remember. So the gang now has their hands on the puzzle piece, and when they exit the kind of chasm or whatever that they were in, like they get back to solid ground, we see in a car watching them is Fred Jones Sr. There is something up with this guy. He knows about the locket, knows about the puzzle piece, and so he probably knows everything that's going on. But what is his goal? I still think that he's behind the monsters, and we'll get to a reason why, an additional reason why in a bit. I actually had a little funny theory that isn't true, but they like show like a statue or sculpture of Scrappy-Doo, and I was like, okay, it's not Scrappy, is it? Scrappy's not Mr. E, is he? I'll say now, he's not, but I've been scarred from it's been Scrappy the whole time. But so then we find out that I was right. Angel is the girl in that picture, and I don't remember what her actual name is, but I'm gonna just keep calling her Angel, because that's how I remember her. But we then find out that I was right, that she was working with Mr. E this whole time. These two are in cahoots. But then this is where I was like, oh, it's not the bird. Is that we see she goes to meet with Mr. E, and he's sitting in a chair facing away from the camera. And, the silhouette was not of a bird. So, and then Mr. E, says, something about, the professor is, an issue, something like that, maybe. But then that as long as Fred Jones is alive, the other two, what was it exactly? I wrote it down. The other two won't move a muscle as long as Fred Jones is alive. So my immediate thought is that there's only really two people that we know in the old Mystery Incorporated that are associated strongly with each other, and that's, him and her, because of the locket. So immediately I was like, okay, so those are the other two that aren't going to act as long as Fred Jones is alive. So I was like, oh, well, it's him, it's old Shaggy. But I didn't stop the episode and come in here. I was thinking about it, but I didn't. But even if I think I should have got it when the bird pretty much said that they had beef, I should have got it there, but I didn't. So I'm not counting that as a win, even though I did pick it up, but it was at the start of the episode it was revealed, so it doesn't really count. But yeah, here's a picture of Mr. E. He gets revealed at the end of the episode. He's that guy over there. I'm gonna keep calling him Mr. E. Even, I don't know if we've gotten his name. I'm just gonna keep calling him Mr. E. But there's still the Crystal Cove curse to be solved. What is it? What is kind of going on with the other two? There's still that to figure out. And see, I'm not as confident that that guy is Fred Jones Sr., but because he said that they won't move a muscle as long as Fred Jones is alive, they didn't specify if it was Junior or Senior. I think that they wanted us to think it was, Fred. But I think it's actually referring to Fred Jones Sr. And see, here's kind of my idea. See, the mayor can't be making the monsters, right? He can't be the one, egging people on, giving people money. He's got to have someone on his payroll doing that. And who on his payroll doing that? Him and her. Her and him. That's why they won't move a muscle as long as he's alive. Because he's paying them. They're not gonna expose what's happening. They're not gonna go after the Crystal Cove treasure or anything like that. They're getting a good paycheck. They're not gonna do a thing. And it's all but pretty much confirmed that Fred Jones Sr. has something to do with the Crystal Cove curse. Because we find him looking at a map, all like mysterious, like they walk into the room, he's looking at a map, and they're like, oh, what was that? And he was like, building a Walmart. Not exactly, but pretty much. So I think that he's after the treasure, and we know the treasure has to be related to the curse, because it was the conquistadors' treasure, and they were the first ones to disappear. So it's definitely tied. I just don't know how. And another thing is that it's confirmed in the episode. He says it himself that he's the one who brought this manticore monster to the town. Because he bought something on the internet and he was like, there's no way it's actually cursed. And it turns out it was cursed, but it wasn't. Scooby-Doo wasn't actually cursed, but yeah, we have an example of him bringing a monster to the town. Who's to say he doesn't normally do that? Who's to say that wasn't the show trying to point us in a direction subtly? So what I'm locking in right now is that these two are working for Fred Jones Sr. Fred Jones Sr. is looking for the treasure. Probably just for the money, because there's a lot about the town needing tourist attractions for money. So I kind of think that he's just doing this for money. But he still has something to do with it. I think the Crystal Cove curse is actual monsters. And that's why let me make this very clear. I think the Crystal Cove treasure is actually the curse. It might be an artifact or something that will actually unleash monsters. And so the owl, the parrot, please. I always forget the professor. I'm calling him the professor. And for some reason, the professor is trying to unleash the real monsters. And I think Fred Jones Sr. isn't. I know I just said it's for the money. I don't think it's actually for the money. I think that he is wanting to unleash real monsters for a real attraction. The gang keeps taking down all these monsters that he's bringing to the town. So he's got to get real ones. I think that's all the mysteries we have, because now we know who Mr. E is. Yeah, I am now going to go watch episodes... what episodes? 22, 23, 24, and 25. I'm going to save the season finale so that we can do one more lock-in at episode 25, or whatever mysteries still remain at that time. But yeah, for now, that's what I'm locking in. That's what I think is going on. Yeah, this show's really good. If you haven't watched it, go. There's a lot of things I'm just not mentioning that I just don't think are important for the overall mystery. I highly recommend going and watching this. So, but yeah, I'll be back at episode 25.
Scooby-Doo Mystery Incorporated. New episodes weekdays at 2/1 Central beginning Monday on Cartoon Network. Scooby-Doo!
Gang, I do not want a repeat of last time. So I am here to cement my guess in now, because I feel like it might get revealed soon. So I want I want to make sure you know that I was on it this whole time. So in episode 23, we learned a lot of things. Jones Sr. has a puzzle piece. Fred's mom has been missing since his birth. Pericles called Fred Sr. an old friend. And this isn't a puzzle piece at all, or it is, but it's a disc. So I'm guessing when all the discs come together, it'll play something. So I'm gonna put my theory in now. That is Fred Jones Sr. That is Fred's mom. They changed their names. Just like everyone else in this picture, they're all new names. I am locking in. That is Fred Jones Sr. That's Fred's mom. I just said that, but I just want to say it again. And yeah, I still don't really know too much more, but I want to just put that out there now. Because there was still that mystery of who they are. And I think when they said that they won't do anything until Fred Jones is, well, he's alive, it actually was talking about Fred. And it's saying as long as he's alive, they're not gonna make a move. Because, like, they want to keep their kids safe, I think. That's what we're locking in. I'm gonna keep watching.
So tune in for brand new episodes of Scooby-Doo Mystery Incorporated. Starts Monday at 16:30 CET on Cartoon Network.
Yeah, I'm lost. I just watched episodes 24 and 25? Or just 20? Oh my god, what? I've watched episodes. We didn't learn too much. We got some really cool scenes with the old gang. We learn about the freak of Crystal Cove and that the old gang split up because their loved ones got threatened or like died or something like that. So we don't get too much to run on. There's four kind of big questions right now. What is the freak of Crystal Cove? What is the Crystal Cove curse? Who are the other two old members of Mystery Incorporated? And what is Pericles' plan? So I think the freak is something that gets awoken whenever these lockets get interfered with. Because we saw in the flashback that the old gang had, well, actually, we know the old gang had the locket, because we find another one at this old church that the old gang encountered the freak at. So I think whenever these are interfered with, the freak awakens. And I think that's the curse. The curse, I think, is the same thing as the treasure. And I still think that the treasure are real monsters. And the freak is actually something that protects Crystal Cove. It stops people from getting all the discs together to activate or find the Crystal Cove curse. So I actually think that the freak is a good guy. And then it's trying to stop people from unleashing real monsters. I still think that the other two old members is Fred's dad and Fred's mom. That's still what I'm running on. I think the old friend line from Pericles is kind of giving that away, to me at least. And then finally, what is Pericles' plan? Because he kind of seems like the villain, like the main villain. So what is he doing? So he's trying to get these discs together. If we're running with the theory that the Crystal Cove curse is real monsters, and that the conquistadors tried to hide like a portal to like a monster world. So it's not really a treasure. They were trying to hide it from society. And then whenever someone gets close, the freak deals with them. And that's the curse. Oh my god, the curse is both. It's twofold. It's the... Okay. The curse is the freak coming after you when you get too close to the treasure. And the treasure is like a portal or something to a monster world. So Pericles' plan is to unleash real monsters. But that's also Fred Jones Sr.'s plan. They're very obviously not working together because of an episode that we watched. Pericles stole a disc from Fred Jones Sr., so they're not working together. So it's a bit weird for them to both have the same plan, but not be working together. Maybe they don't know that they're both after the same thing. Maybe Pericles thinks that Fred Jones Sr. is trying to find a location to make sure that no one can find it. Because he's like, the freak can't be around forever, maybe? Or he's trying to unleash the freak. And he like wants the information out there so that the freak shows up more. That's stupid though. That's really dumb if that's what it is. No, that's a little too stupid. I don't know. I think I'm gonna run off the theory that Pericles wants to unleash them to like destroy the world. Fred Jones wants to release them for monetary gain. And that's why they're not working together. That's my theories going into the season finale, where I'm pretty sure we're going to get the answer to everything. I don't think this goes into season 2. I don't know. Maybe this turns into a 3-hour video. I'm not too sure. But I'm gonna go watch the season finale, and we'll see how right I am. Not how right I am. Probably how wrong I am, but... well, you know, not everyone's perfect, so... Okay. Wow. I was right on some things, but very, very wrong about others. Okay, so the first thing, Fred Jones Sr. was the freak. And he... Okay. So when this gang figured out, like, was looking into the Crystal Cave curse or treasure, they came to him to ask him questions. He then teamed up with Pericles to go behind their backs, and like, because he realized that this could lead to treasure, and he wanted it. And so he convinced all of them that their parents were actually criminals. And so they all left Crystal Cove. They were threatened to leave. And then Fred Jones Sr. sets up Pericles as the reason they disappeared. So Pericles really isn't that bad of a guy. Kinda. I think he killed a guy. But he... Fred Jones Sr. is a bad guy. And then it also turns out those are Fred's parents. That's not Fred's real dad. Their names are Brad and Judy. They were Fred's real parents, and they showed back up to Crystal Cove, and he didn't want them looking into the treasure again. He wanted it for himself. So he was like, hey, I'll take your kid. You get the fuck out of here. So they did. Now, there still are some things that are unanswered. We don't know what Pericles' plan is. He wants all of the disc. And I'm guessing that's what season 2 is about. And we also don't know what the curse is, or what the treasure is. That's also in season 2. So how did we do? Pretty bad. I absolutely clocked that the 2 members who are missing from the group were Fred's parents. I clocked that. I also clocked that Angel was working with Mr. E. I got the identity of Mr. E wrong. And I also got everything revolving Fred Sr. wrong. And that had a lot to do with all of my guesses. So that's a little unfortunate. So, can we solve Scooby-Doo Mystery Incorporated Season 1 before the reveal? No. No, we cannot. So that's it's a little unfortunate. But we still have Season 2. I could still do this for Season 2. I don't know if I will, but I could. This was a really good show. I really recommend watching it. It's really good. I'm really excited to see where the mystery goes from here. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know if there's any other things you want me to solve. Like maybe if there's a Scooby-Doo movie. Probably one of the, I've seen a lot of them, or I know the solution to a lot of them. So some of them I probably can't do, but leave them down below. What mysteries you like me to solve. And yeah, thank you for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see ya.